Welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live out your commission with God. And today's topic is about being heard, or to be heard. And so Sharon and I are going to talk a little bit about that. We do think that there's some keys and maybe some misconceptions out there about what it is to be heard. And, as we continue to explore what it is to have community, especially a virtual community in the Warrior Commission, one of the things that we are continuing to expand and develop has to do with voice in each person, and what that looks like, and how we are able to hear each voice, but also how each person is able to have a voice in the Warrior Commission and beyond. So I'm Christine Caston, and this is
Sharon Rudolph.
And Sharon and I are just, this is, I guess, something really near and dear to our hearts. So for us, it's really a pleasure to invite you guys to be a part of our table discussion today, and just join in with us. We're going to start with Colossians 3:12 through 14, and it says, "You are the people of God. He loved you and chose you for his own. So then you must clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Be tolerant with one another and forgive one another whenever any of you has a complaint against someone else. You must forgive one another just as the Lord has forgiven you. And to all these qualities add love, which binds all things together in perfect unity." And you may be thinking, well, what does that have to do with being heard? So Sharon, I would love to, pass the baton, so to speak, to you, and just say, why don't you address that? What is that? What is this love thing, and this forgiveness thing, and this compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience have to do with being heard?
I think before we can be heard, we have to be able to listen with compassion. Mm-hmm. We have to be willing to understand that other person's heart, where they're coming from, and what's going on. And as a believer in Jesus, I believe another piece of that is being willing to hear God's heart, or understand God's heart for that person and where they are. Mm-hmm. So the whole clothe yourself with compassion becomes vital.
Yeah.
So what if that person doesn't need you to say anything, and what they need is just your kind presence with them? Because actions can speak louder than words. And oftentimes we don't know the best way to say what we want to say unless we're in tune with what God is thinking for them. And so starting with this verse creates space. It gives a framework, and there's just a huge blessing in how God says do relationship.
Right. Which is really ultimately what it is. I mean, whether even if you'll never see that person again, and right. You don't really know if you'll never see that person again, truthfully. But even if you don't ever see that person again, that one moment in time is a divine appointment.
Yes.
From the Lord, to express his heart and to share his heart. So a lot of times, to me, active listening is that three-way listening, which we have a video called Three-Way Listening, where we really addressed this about the idea of what it is to listen to God and listen to the other person and yourself, in that process. And so you've kind of got this three directional listening that you're doing, active listening in that space. And there's a connection point in that space, in that time, in that moment. And I think, one of the things that I was talking to my husband the other day, and we were talking about how we had seen over the course of time, we have seen people who come in with a desire to be heard, right? So the heart is there not to be heard because they want to be it's not a negative thing. It actually stems from something that is about connection and being seen and being valued. And so it stems from that. But a lot of times the only approach they know how to do it is to be, like First Corinthians talks about, is a clanging gong or a clashing cymbal. So loud and um and uh and lots of words. And it's not really about dialogue. And that is not truly what it is to be heard. And my husband said something really amazing, because he said, you know, to be able to be heard, you have to be able to hear. And that's really what we're talking about. To me, that's the weighty thing that it is, like what you're saying, Sharon, to be clothed in this compassion, to know that someone has heard what you've said because of what they speak, right? So if they just speak out of a desire to tell me what they know, then they haven't really heard me, because they're not responding to what I've talked about.
Right.
Does that make sense? The difference?
Oh, yes. Yes. And I think it's a real thing out there. There are people who don't know how to receive compassion or kindness. They don't know how to receive love.
Right.
They don't know how to receive that, yes, we are listening to them. They have expectations that they won't be listened to, or it won't matter. And because they come in with those expectations, our compassion, our demeanor, our response becomes that much more important, to help bypass their walls or their expectations to get to what's really important to God's heart.
Yeah.
Which is that they know they're loved and they can be who they are. Because our voice is simply about being who you are, your identity, and who God designed you to be. And there's amazing things that happen in our lives when we walk in alignment with God. But I agree. It really does start with our ability to listen and to listen well, and to love people well.
And I think the other thing too is tapping into the patience part of the fruit of the Spirit. Because a lot of times, I mean, I've been to parties before, you know, like, you know, just like a neighborhood get together or something where I didn't really know people. And I would end up connecting with someone who, then you know, like they started sharing deep things of their heart. Right. I mean, like just deep things of their heart. And they're sitting there saying, I have no idea why I'm telling you all this. You know, I don't know why I'm sharing this with you. I haven't even told, you know, my best friend or my husband or whatever about that. And it's not because of any, you know, magic bullet. It's because in the moment I was present, and in the moment I was patient with them. And in the moment, I was encouraging to them so that they had a place to express these things and be heard. And then at the same time, because of being able to hear what they were saying, when I was able to share something back to them, there was already this space of encouragement and love that was created through that safe place. And it's not, you know, it's not like that happens to me every single time I walk into, you know, an event. But it is those moments that, to me, I value those precious moments because they're in a place where they may not feel that there are others that they can share these things with, that will listen and try to understand versus just listen and waiting to talk, you know. There's a completely different interaction when I'm taking turns talking with someone than when I'm actually listening to them and responding out of what that conversation is about.
Oh, I love that phrase you just used of taking turns talking to someone. And so often that's what conversations are, you know. The other person speaks and I'm thinking about, oh, I want to tell you about this. And instead of really listening to what that person has to say on their heart. And that is, it's a very delightful place to stand in,
Mhm.
because that's a place Jesus stood in often,
Mhm.
the listening place.
Yeah. So I think that as you guys are here listening to this talk, I think one of the things that maybe is a challenge to walk away with, or an opportunity to activate in this, is simply just to take the time to actively listen to others in your day. Don't wait to talk, but actually hear what they have to say and see what happens in the conversation when you do that, because I can almost guarantee that it will more than likely go to a much deeper place than what you expect, and faster than you expect
Yes.
in that process. So Sharon, do you have anything you want to add as we close up?
No, I don't think so. I think that you've just summed it up beautifully.
Perfect. Well, so guys, gals, everybody out there, we just look forward to seeing you on more of our chats. You are welcome to join us. We typically post on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Sometimes we miss a few here and there, but we do try to be fairly consistent on that. We hope that you will have a chance to be encouraged, and again, find some practical ways just to live your life with God in the commission that He has for you. So you guys have a great day.